Okay, dear venerable sisters, dear Dhamma friends. So we have come to the second question and answer session of this retreat. So may you all settle down and as a giving as a consent, may you all say sadhu, 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 sadhu. So we will start with the written questions.
Bhante, today we have 8 questions.
Okay.
Question number 1. Venerable Bhante, I have been trying to do Anapanasati meditation for several years, but I couldn't identify the point which touches the breath. I found as if I am trying to concentrate on breath by an effort. Recently I discovered that I can concentrate as in-breath and out-breath at the upper chest, within brackets going up and down. Shall I continue this method? Am I doing the correct thing? Please explain to me. Thero Saranai.
Actually, it is not necessary to find out the exact place. Say, if you are trying to find a kind of a pinpoint where exactly the breath is touching, it is in a way it is too much. So it is enough to maintain your attention at the nostril area. It is not a very, say, nanometer type of area, but it's a kind of a, say, several centimeters area. It's not a nanometer area. Now, if you are thinking of a exact place, then it is too much. It is a kind of pinpoint. It is not the case, but rather you maintain your attention at the nostril area, maybe around several centimeters area, and while maintaining your attention there, you are able to understand, okay, now in-breath is happening, now out-breath is happening, now in-breath, now out-breath. So using various parameters. One may understand using its temperature. Okay, in-breath is cold and the out-breath is, say, hot. Another one may feel the kind of touching sensation. Say, it is rubbing in one direction in the in-breath. For the out-breath, it's rubbing on the other direction. So likewise, with various ways, you can identify whether it is in-breath or out-breath. So at the beginning it is enough to know this difference. Now it is in-breath, now it is out-breath. So if you have that capacity, if you have that skill, then you can continue with Anapanasati. And as you further develop, your mindfulness developed and your sensitivity also developed, and accordingly your breath calms down. In order to understand very calm, soft, subtle breath, you need to have fair amount of mindfulness. Fair amount of mindfulness. So this also improving. So don't sort of do forced breathing to catch the breath. Rather, if it is calming down, just improve your mindfulness, improve your attention while allowing the breath to calm down. On one day, you will be able to sort of maintain the necessary say, tuned mindfulness or sharp mindfulness. There you may be able to again say in-breath and out-breath. But there is a time where, suppose you are continuously meditating, you are being mindful, and there is a time where you can't distinguish whether it is in-breath or out-breath, but some sensation is there. Just an indication that breathing is happening, but now the say signs indicating whether it is in-breath or out-breath has disappeared. So that is a clear indication that you have reached fair amount of concentration, and that is enough to begin vipassana meditation. So that is the path we are following. So you don't need to exactly find out a pinpoint where exactly the breath is touching. Yes.
As a beginner, I understand that meditation requires practice. However, I find myself more calmer and relaxed when listening to guided meditation audio clips, within brackets on noting the breath. In comparison to meditating on my own, which is often subject to multiple distractions such as falling asleep, etc., is there a one-size-fits-all approach to meditation, or does this depend on individual preference? What are your thoughts on guided meditation? Thero Saranai.
Actually, you can't now say, if you can have someone who can see your mind throughout, then you can have continuous guided meditation. So there is no way of doing it, no. So at the beginning, you can have someone just telling, okay, calm down, okay, now forget about the past, forget about the future, just be in the present, okay, like that. Just at the beginning, you can be guided. But the journey is just up to you. You are the one alone going in the journey. And your mind, what is going on in your mind is not visible to outside. So there is no one from the outside at that time, at that instant help you. So you, in a way, you need to understand the milestones which you may come across along the path. And again you need to have some idea what to do when you come across those things. And you are the own savior. There is no one else can help you in that sense. But Buddha has shown the path. Buddha has clearly shown the path. And we can use those, map, which is given in the Dhamma, as a guideline. And then we ourselves have to go through. And as you go through, actually you can associate various, teachers, Kalyana Mittas, and you can honestly reveal what you are coming across. Say, whether you are improving, whether you are going down, or what are the difficulties, what are the, defilements you come across. So likewise, you simply open up yourself and explain what are your experiences. Then another person can help you. But it is not while you are meditating. While you are meditating, you have to be fairly calm down. And you have to quietly, say, if you are going to Anapanasati, again still you are quietly watching it. If you are going to say Dhatu Manasikara, still you are quietly watching it. So if someone is telling, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, then it's a distraction. So guided meditation is good at the beginning. And once you are put into the ocean or to the sea, you have to swim. So someone can take you to the shore and put you to the sea. Then you alone have to swim. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, state of dual awareness during walking meditation. Dear Bhante, thank you for the tips given yesterday to tackle walking meditation. I found them very helpful. However, I realized after a while that I was able to simultaneously be aware of the sensations on my feet and still have distracting thoughts, like I was in a state of dual awareness. Is this normal? What can one do about it if it is not? Is this normal? What can one do about it if it is not? Thank you. Thero Saranai.
Yeah, if you are sort of being aware of distracting thoughts and at the same time various sensations, give prominence to sensations. So more and more you engage with the sensations, more and more you give prominence for sensations, the intensity of the distracting thoughts diminish. So they may come, but they are not penetrating inside. They simply go away, coming like from the outside, but cannot penetrate towards you, cannot penetrate into you, but they may come and go. And even if you are further focusing, even if you are, and actually more and more you be mindful about the sensations, more and more you are involved, or more and more you are in the present moment, more and more you are in the object. So that is the object, but what you are experiencing. Then every other object becomes secondary, and they becomes kind of not being able to overpower you, and they simply go away, and they keep diminishing, and this object become more and more clear, more and more predominant, and you are able to see even more detail that which you didn't come across at the beginning. Say for example, when you start walking meditation, so say in the first stages, earliest stages, say you simply have some kind of sensation, okay, stiffness, roughness, softness, or whatever, that kind of few sensations are there. But as you improve, try to catch more detail. say which finger is touching first. Whether is it my heel or is a particular finger, particular toe, or which one is touching. So is it stiffness or is it roughness or is it softness or whatever, which one is it? And how it is transferring along the sole. So likewise, to make a kind of an interest to search these tiny little details, then you are more and more into the subject. So then you don't have time even to see what is going on outside. So because you are fully in it, fully mind has concentrated, mind has stopped chattering and no thoughts, and you are fully with the sensations, fully with this present moment awareness. So that is the improvement. So more you are calm down and observing it, more you will be relaxed, more you will be with the object, and more you will be your mindfulness.
Bhante, the next questions are not related directly to Bhavana, so...
I have one question related to yesterday's Dhamma talk. Are they related to the Dhamma talk? Or?
One is... Yes.
Yeah, so then... okay, we'll finish these ones first, yes. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, this is regarding yesterday's Dhamma talk. You explained how to deal with involuntary thoughts as anatta, not I, not mine. On the other hand, we have a grave issue. We think volitionally, intentionally. We make plans very enthusiastically and ambitiously. We have determinations and ardent wishes. Within brackets, I think all this enhance ego. Could you please explain how one disclaims these volitional thoughts and see them in the light of anatta? I wish Thero Saranai.
So actually this section also somewhat related to it. So actually if you are type of going deeper in Vipassana particularly, so there are certain tendencies develop in you. Say someone in the typical worldly way, so we have various ambitions. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, then I will achieve that, I will achieve this. So likewise we are driven by our hopes, driven by our ambitions. But as you meditate, so you may come to a state where there is no that much of ambitions. There are no that much of enthusiasm. There is no that much of motivation. But still you are very relaxed, very calm, still happy, but no much ambition. So that is in a way it's very difficult to logically understand. Because we are actually desire driven, we are actually ambition driven, we are actually motivation driven people. But now with the meditation we are sort of coming to a state where these ambitions are fading away, our desires are fading, our hopes are little fading. So for others it appear like we are now like defeated. We are sort of having a kind of lethargic feeling about the day-to-day activities. So, we have totally given up the world. So likewise the other people can interpret ourselves. But more and more you understand Dhamma, more and more you go deeper with Vipassana, so you understand these ambitions, these determinations are kind of a burden. So at the beginning, to tell all these things may discourage you. The problem is now you may be coming here to meditate in order to improve mindfulness and to have a, say, first class in your university degree. Okay, then you may discourage when I am telling these things. But those are actually side effects of the meditation. So, but if you are really following the Buddha's teaching, so he says, Kaye Kayanupasse Vihirino, chittang virajjati, vimucchati. So as you are keep on observing your body, maybe in breath and out breath, maybe 4 elements meditation, your mind starts to little fade away with the objects. And you are even coming to a state where there is no object. So then you will understand, so this all the issues are when the objects are associated. I don't know, probably you may actually understand. So say typically how many things that we have in our minds. Okay, you have your, say suppose you are doing a particular job. So you have various responsibilities at your office. You have various responsibilities as a father, as a mother, as a daughter, as a son. So we have various things. Suppose you are learning. So you have various things there. So mind is continuously bombarded with all these objects. There is no even a second of relax to the mind. So for a person who has such corrupted mind in a way, such a, say, tiring mind, only will understand how blissful is this resting period, how blissful is this peaceful states. Because otherwise, if you are simply have nothing to do, just idling, then you don't feel much of advantage in meditation. But for a person who is really having various things, various responsibilities, various tasks, various things to think, so then you are sort of overusing the mind, and such peace in the mind is really valuable. So the meditation is really worth for him. So, but as you go on, in order to achieve it, in order to experience it, in order to taste it, you have to let go. You have to let go the responsibilities. You have to let go the hopes. Let go all the determinations. And you just have to just be. Just satisfy, fully contented with the present moment. So say there is that something called appanihita samadhi. So wishless concentration. So it's translated as wishless concentration. Appanihita. So panidhi means you have a desire, you have a wish, you have a future hope. And suppose you are coming to a very balanced state of mind and you are fully contented, you are extremely happy and you don't need anything from outside. You are entirely fulfilled. So imagine such a state of mind. So then only one can reach the appanihita concentration. So therefore, Dhamma operates in a different way rather than how we think. So allow Dhamma to operate. So don't just engage with meditation. So don't think that you will be challenged and your desires and your aspirations will be, or everything will be dropped, and you will become a kind of an idle person, a useless person. Don't think like that. So you can maintain all these wishes, so you can accomplish your determinations, but in a balanced manner. Whether they have a value, then you may be going through. If you feel on the way that they are based on some ego, they are based on some, kind of a power hunger, or they are based on finding ego, then you may even drop them. But you are coming to a state where you have a clarity of mind, well balanced. So those I feel is much valuable than having various goals, having various objectives, which sometimes are sort of making us really thirsty. So never satisfied. So actually Buddha reflects in his Dhamma, which is explained in the Rattapala Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. One reason why Venerable Rattapala to give up worldly life and become a monk is a statement called Uno Loko Atitto Tanha Daso. Uno Loko. Now, suppose now there are very rich people. Are they really satisfied? So they all, now say they have several vehicles, they have a very good house, they have a good family, they have various income. Still they want to have some more. Still not satisfied. Still not contented. So uno loco means every time there is something missing. So think about your own life. Every time you are not contented. You feel I am lacking something. So what is lacking? Still sometimes can't figure it out. What is lacking, still can't figure it out. But something is lacking. Uno loco, atitto, and you are not contented. You are not satisfied. Tanha dasu, and we are slaves to craving. So we are driven by craving. So we have one hope after another hope. Say we have one hope, we achieve it, then that hope becomes useless, not necessary. Then you have another hope. Then you are going after that hope and achieving it. Then after achieving it, there's another hope. So it's a never-ending cycle. So we are simply driven by craving, and we are simply slaves to craving. So that's what one reason this Venerable Rattapala gave up the whole worldly life and he became a monk. So understanding that we are sort of slaves to craving. So just think deeply. So we are sort of, through the Dhamma you are coming to a state where the solution is not really simply going after achieving or fulfilling desires, but rather finding out reasons to desire and addressing those reasons, addressing those causes, rather than sort of satisfying desires. Yes.
This is a general question, Bhante. Is Buddhism fatalistic? Bhante, I find that sometimes the Buddhist teachings of paying your dues quite fatalistic. At other times it makes perfect sense. In example, realistic, which one is it?
Sorry, the last statement.
At other times it makes perfect sense. In example, realistic, which one is it?
So, same thing I have explained you now. So, it appears like fatalistic. It appears like negative. Because even the Buddha was blamed due to these things. Because many people given up worldly life, they became monks. So, some Brahmins blame him, telling he is stopping or prohibiting the worldly growth. So, because now when growth, the worldly growth has to be there, so people have to get married and have children, and they have to have marriage, have children, and it's continuously going on and on. So in a way it is a threat to the world. Buddha's teaching is a threat to the world, because Buddha's showing, this human life is precious. But this is not the first life that you are experiencing. You are coming along in a long path. So we can't find out who are the elders here. So we are really old to this samsara. So we have gone through endless life cycles, endless births and deaths. So it's continuously we are going through. So the message of the Buddha is not, the real message of the Buddha is not to have a really luxurious life, maybe even moral and having luxurious life, but rather finding out a solution. The point is, today suppose you are happy, but tomorrow suppose something happen, say some unseen calamity happens, kind of say flooding, landslide. So all the variety of disasters are there, and various illnesses can come to you. So many things can happen. So even though it appears like we are happy, it appears like everything is well, but at any given moment everything becomes otherwise. So everything is uncertain. So there is an ongoing uncertainty in the typical this worldly nature. There's an ongoing uncertainty in the all conditioned nature. So Buddha wants to find a permanent solution for that. So in a way it is very radical, because now as human beings, as beings, so we want to stop death while protecting the birth. So after become born, we want to avoid death. So it cannot happen. So you can, did our ancestors achieve it? Never. I mean, we also can't do it, and the future also no one can do it. If someone is get born and they will die, they will go through the typical cycle, aging, decaying, and all these things, and ultimately will die. So we may think, okay, my mother, my father couldn't achieve it much better, so I definitely will do it much better than themselves. So we are trying hard. Then our children will think the same way. My father, my mother, they are sort of couldn't do much, so I'll do it better. So we are going on and on, but no one will win in the way. So ultimately, so we become slaves to the craving, to our own desires. We are keep continuously going on, and one birth to the other birth, one birth to the other birth. So there are beautiful verses where in one time Buddha come across one farmer, and Buddha found that farmer has the potential to become a Sotapanna, and so he wants to become friendly with him. So simply on first day, he simply go there, and he just ask, what are you doing, and just being friendlier, and then he offers some food. The next day also Buddha go there. The next day also the farmer giving some food. Third day also going, another something given, but not that nice, because he is coming again. So the next time also Buddha goes, so fourth day is going, and then he is telling, you all are like, I mean, nonsense. You are all coming every day. Again and again you are coming. So then Buddha got the point. He says, yeah, that is true. The rain is falling again and again. Beggars are begging again and again. And beings are coming to the womb again and again. So that's the nature. It is not the end, but we are coming to the womb, we are coming to the samsara again and again. So then Buddha saying, giving us kind of a solution. So how to avoid this birth? So if you get a birth, you may definitely have to go through various suffering. So we need to, in a way, we need to acknowledge that there is suffering. There is a tremendous amount of suffering. Then we have to find a solution to overcome this suffering, not as a sort of escapism, but rather giving a permanent solution for this suffering. Why we are suffering? What is the solution? So that is solution Buddha has given. So it appears like fatalistic, because it does not encourage much of the, say, luxurious way of living, gaining as much as possible, and that is not really encouraged, but rather kind of understanding oneself. It's kind of inner journey, rather than seeking the things from outside. Say, from the scientific point of view, we are searching solutions every time outside. Either in this world or the other world or other galaxies, we are finding the solution on outside. But Buddha's approach is fairly inside. What are the reasons? What are the causes? And he is turning our attention inside. Causes are inside. So these causes are now revealed. These causes are now addressed, and the solution is given. So for the kind of capitalistic world, for the worldly beings, it appears like fatalistic. Can't help.
Venerable Bhante, by doing meditation, can one minimize another person's karma, within brackets, as parents? Also, what can the person concerned follow or do to minimize the effects of karma?
Yeah, actually not only meditation, all the meritorious deeds to some extent minimize our own karma. So that is there. There is a beautiful sutta called Lona Phala Sutta, where Buddha giving a very beautiful simile. Say you take some amount of salt and you are putting to a little amount of water. Say you have a cup of water and you are putting some amount of salt to that water. So you can understand immediately it becomes salty because the amount of water is less. Now suppose you are taking the same amount of salt and put into a river. Will the river water become salty? It won't, because the water, the amount is very large, mass of water is there. So this amount of salt is not enough to make that large amount of water salty. So Buddha giving that simile, where when a person does not engage with the various wholesome activities, his wholesome power is less. And suppose he is doing some mistake, suppose he is doing some unwholesome deed, so its consequences are very strongly felt by that person, because his wholesome power is less. But suppose the same person, say for example, he is now accumulating more and more merit, he is engaged with more wholesome deeds, and now his wholesome power improves, wholesome power increases, and at a stage his unwholesome power reduces, or rather his wholesome power increases more than the unwholesome power. Now his wholesome power is large. There he does the same wrong activity, wrong, say, misdeed, and Buddha says its impact is very less. So therefore, we as beings, we not only have wholesome power, we also have unwholesome power. And still we need to continue to do wholesome deeds. So it is the refuge. So that's why Buddha says, Kammasaka, Kammayoni, Kammabandhu, Kammapatisarana. Kammapatisarana means, so that is, Kamma becomes the refuge for ourselves. So when we are doing wholesome deeds, so it generates some kind of potential even to completely cut off the delusion, cut off the moha. And the meditation in the other side, Vipassana meditation particularly, help us to find out a solution how not to do kamma, how not to accumulate kamma. So typically, in the typical Buddhist point of view, we encourage doing good and discourage doing bad. So that's known, everyone known, okay? Now, once you get fair amount of wholesome power, then you may have to come to a stage, you have to discard both wholesome and unwholesome. So that is a bit difficult point to convince. So how it is, everyone may accept that we have to discard unwholesome, but how to discard wholesome? So people may question. So that is where Buddha says in Dhammapada, Punya Papa Pahinassa. So both Punya and Papa, both wholesome and unwholesome, both are relinquished. So that is what happened in the Vipassana, where you are not generating I, but still you are doing various deeds. So you are helping someone, but through that you are not looking for a personality. You are helping, but not with some undermined, say, kind of agenda or hidden criteria. Rather, you are helping just because it is the most appropriate thing to do at that given time. And after that, you forget it. So, therefore, through that act, you are not much generating a typical worldly type of kusala, which in a way helps to go on and on. But rather you are generating a kind of a deeper merit, which may more convince you for the understanding, for the development of the wisdom. Because you, basically for the good people, mostly the I is generated through wholesome activities. So that is another point. So typically, when one becomes a wholesome or rather a good person, say sappurisa, so that means he is not engaged with various bad deeds. Now he is doing a lot of good deeds. Now using the good deeds also, you can generate I. Say you do help someone. Yesterday I have taken the example of, say, helping someone fallen. So you go there and help him remove everything and helping, and you take him up. So you did something good. Now suppose you came back home. Now the incident comes to the mind. Oh, I was there. Like that, now again it is coming to your mind. and you are now started proliferation. Oh, if I was not there, he will be in a big trouble. So I was the one protected him. So you are telling the other people also, and to exaggerate it, so you can even put an advertisement. So that is through the wholesome deeds we are making we are making a self. So if we can simply do something beautiful, do something wholesome as a kind of obligation, as a kind of a duty, and that's it. That's all. And when the mind is trying to generate a thought, generate a story, at that time you need to understand, now this is the Mara trying to tempt me, Mara trying to tackle me, and to create a I in me, I within me, and you have to handle it through Vipassana. You have to be fully vigilant of what is going on in the mind, and then and there you have to handle it. Otherwise, even the wholesome deeds cause to make an I. Yes.
Venerable Bhante, this question is regarding Buddhism in mental illness. How does Buddhism explain the causation of mental illness? Is it due to past sins?
I heard that if we engage in taking intoxications, say alcohol, drugs and all, as a consequence, suppose you were taking such in the previous lives, as a consequence, in this life, there's a fair capacity or fair ability that your mind has some kind of illness. You have some mental disorder. So those things are possible as a consequence of the fifth precept being broken. So, because it, in a way, it is understandable, because you want to be insane. So by taking various things, you like to be insane rather than the sensible. So then you are getting the result on the next life. So you are born with that. Can't help. So therefore it is said now typically for, say, when someone is killing, say, animals or whatever, then the next lives, they are, even if they get a human birth, their lifespan becomes less, and they may encounter various accidents type of things. Such things are the results. So similarly, these 5 precepts, if we are not protecting, they have the results. So this mental disorders and all such things is a kind of a karmic result of the 5th precept not being protected. But there may be various other reasons as well. Say, for example, say you are blaming someone, being an idiot, being a fool, being a, say, mad or something like that. So suppose the repercussions it can have, because he may going through inner burning, the person who being blamed going through inner burning, so the other person may get the result in a future life. So everything has a connection in a way. So that is what I feel regarding the question.
Final question. Venerable Sir, will you please give some introduction on Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana? Thero and Saranai.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I need to tell we don't recommend Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana for beginners, because at the beginning we don't have established mindfulness. So in order to continue with Chittanupassana, you need to have very, very good mindfulness. Otherwise, when you are watching the mind, you are get caught to the thoughts. Because it is a difficult situation where you are watching the mind, using the mind. You are watching the mind, using the mind. So the thing going on in the mind has a fair capacity or kind of attraction towards this watching mind. So if the watching mind is not strong, ultimately watching mind become a slave to what is ongoing in the mind. So therefore we don't recommend Chittanupassana at the beginning. And the Buddha himself said in Anapanasati Sutta, Naham bhikkhave muttas satissa asampajanassa anapanasati bhavanam vadami. Monks, I am not recommending for a muttas satissa, someone with wavering mindfulness. Not established mindfulness, but wavering mindfulness. Asampajanasa, not with the clear comprehension, that I recommend Anapanasati. Particularly in the Chittanupasana section. So, in order to go to Chittanupasana, therefore you need to have a fair amount of mindfulness. So, suppose you have fair amount of mindfulness, that indicates your mind experience certain amount of resting period, certain amount of peace, and you may even get areas where no thoughts, extremely less inner chatter, and you have fair amount of concentration. So it is not continuously now thoughts are coming, but time to time thoughts are coming. So understand the situation. Now for a beginner, so he doesn't have this state. So he continuously takes thoughts, get the thoughts. But as you practice meditation, so your mind experience a state, the frequent thoughts are not there. But time to time thoughts are coming. Say trains of thoughts are coming, but in between there are gaps. So now you can start Chittanupassana, and you are maintaining kind of established mindfulness, relaxed mindfulness, and undefiled state of mind. And through that, now you watch the mind, and now suppose there's a lustful thought arising, and you vividly see that lust is now arising. And main thing is, you are not making it mine. It is not my lust. But due to certain causes, now lust is appearing. And now it is changing. Okay, another thought coming and trying to support it. But I am not supporting. I am just watching it. Now it is fading away. And it fades away, totally gone. Again, peace in the mind. So this is a kind of a picture typically has to happen in the Chittanupassana, where various types of defilements can happen, various types of wholesome states of mind can happen, but still you are not making it yours. Rather they are appearing due to causes, and you simply just bear watching, just understanding and letting it go. So this is how Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana has to operate, and ultimately everyone has to come to that state, because the solution or the kind of a profound solution is there with the mind. But still Buddha says that even if you are very familiar with Kayanupassana, even with Vedananupassana, even that is sufficient to attain stream entry. So don't think that you should practice all four in one shot. So if you are proficient in Kayanupassana, and you get the same state of mind even with Kayanupassana, because Kayanupassana is easy in the sense that you are watching various bodily activities with the mind. These bodily activities are not deceiving you. Bodily activities cannot catch you like the thoughts going on in the mind, because bodily activities are almost kind of fading away. It's a result of something, and you can watch it like an outsider, and you can maintain mindfulness, and you are not driven by various activities of the body if you are sort of having some equanimity. Say you are going through some pain. So suppose you have some amount of equanimity, some patience, so you can simply watch it. So pain is arising, changing and going away. So you can watch it. Through that you can learn. You understand, okay, it is arising, it is changing, it is passing away. It is arising, it is changing, it is passing away. So you have to be with body and the feeling for fair amount of time, and that is the field to practice mindfulness. So immediately trying to go to Chittanupassana is too much actually. Yes. So I got a bit long question from someone. So that talks about the non-self teaching, which I was discussing yesterday. So I think that the questions are very valid and interesting. So first of all, we need to understand how the aggregates are operating. Say for example, suppose I am looking at a particular object and I am attracted to it. So at that time, so my eyes are in operation and that object, that form is in operation. So that comes under the form aggregate, Rupakkhandha. And then due to that interaction, some kind of happy feeling arise. So that is coming under the feeling aggregate. And then I have a kind of a perception, oh, it is a very good air conditioner. So that is a kind of I am mapping my previous data with the present data. Now I am developing a kind of a perception. So that is the perception aggregate, sanya khanda. Then I may have a kind of attachment. Oh, I better find a similar one and to install in my monastery, okay, something. So I am now developing sense of sankhara, kind of a manipulation. So that is the sankhara khanda. So I may have a greedy thought. So that is the say consciousness. So these are simple way. The 5 khandas are actually working together. It is not that only one khanda present. All 5 are present. But at a given time, one may be very clear. Say, if I am get a greed, so that greed, the sankhara side, the greed may be clear. If I am fascinated by its appearance, okay, the perception side may be clear. Say, so likewise, I mean, one of these aggregates or a couple of them may be very clear. So that is where we can do the vipassana. So among those 5, we can use which is more clear and more prominent, and that can be used for vipassana. So the question is it that particular one causing to generate I? Actually, not only that, all 5 are contributing to generate I. But the majority may happen through the most prominent one, because that is where the prominency happens, because that is the most contributing, highly contributing component at that time. Another question is whether by understanding that aggregate, whether we can cut off I. So that is what we are trying to do. So then and there, when we grasp something, a given object, when we grasp, that grasping has to be understood. Grasping has to be penetrated and has to stop there. So grasping is the culprit. So other things are actually we can tackle, but the slight desire still can manage. But desire again and again happening, now it is developing. Ultimately it comes to a large desire, what we call as upadana, what we call as grasping. So that is the harmful part. So that grasping we have to avoid. So when we understood some grasping is there, some strong attachment is there, we have to penetrate it and we have to stop there. And by doing so, it is true that we may be avoiding the generation of I. So as a person, I may appear there. Okay, I want to have it. I want to own it. So now I is operating. So whenever desire is there, I is also there. So I want to have it. I want to own it. So I mean, suppose someone else is owning it. So I am having jealous towards them. Oh, who is he? So like that, I mean, I'm always creating these personality issues, and due to this inherent or inbuilt component of I. Another question asks, yes, so are there just the thoughts create a kind of karma or something like that? So typically defilements are explained at 3 states. So there's a kind of a hidden state, what we call as asava, and then the kind of they coming to the surface of the mind, and what we call as pariyutthana, kind of obsession, or kind of obsessive thoughts. Now the anger, lust going on in the mind, and then based on that we are operating. Say we are engaged with something, we are killing an animal, we are stealing. So that is the transgression, we are coming to the vitikkama. So those are the 3 states, and certain defilements only generate karma when you come to the transgression, when you are breaking the precept and going to the transgression. Then only the real karma happens. But just coming to the surface of the mind does not generate karma. Say for example, suppose you see an animal, say a snake, and you immediately want to kill it. And you get frightened and you understood it's a snake and you want to kill it. Now there's a kind of a hatred going on in the mind. But still you didn't kill it, for example. So no karma yet. In terms of the killing action to happen, typically it is explained 5 factors has to be fulfilled. So the animal has to be killed in order for killing to happen. In order for killing action to happen, that karma to happen. But if you haven't yet killed, even you get the engaged thoughts, even you get the idea to kill, still that operation hasn't happened. But on the other hand, there's another, say, type of karma or other deed which happens in the mind, what we call as, say, michaditti. So you have an entirely wrong view. Say, suppose someone is believing that there is no rebirth or there is no karma. So those are some strong beliefs in the mind, and you again and again you are developing such belief. Again and again you are believing it. So now that belief becomes kind of inherent to your mind. So through that vision, through that view, you are looking the whole world. So then it becomes karma. So that's why typically dasa akusala, 10 types of unwholesome deeds explained, 3 by body, 4 by words, and 3 by mind. So this wrong view and wrong type of greed and excessive ill will are generating karma. So those are the questions actually raised by this question, and I already explained how one can help another without generating I. So if some more explanation is needed, you are welcome. So else we can finish today's question and answer session. Are there any other questions? Yes.
There is some tanha, isn't it? The desire.
Yes, to achieve nibbana. Yes. Yeah. So that is very beautifully explained by Venerable Ananda. Tanha sambhuto ayam bhaginikayo tanha nissaya tanha pahatabbu. Mana sambhuto ayam bhaginikayo mana nissaya manam pahatabbu. Ahara sambhuto ayam bhaginikayo aharam nissaya aharam pahatabbu. This is an answer given by Venerable Ananda to one of the bhikkhunis. So he says, Tanha sambhuto ayam bhaginikayo tanha nissaya tanha pahatabbu. So this body is generated by craving. But using craving, you are relinquishing craving. So in a way, it's very difficult to understand. It's kind of like a paradox. So he explains it like, say someone attained arahanthood at a particular place, and you also get a desire. Oh, I also have to attain. So you have a desire to attain arahanthood, to realize nibbana. So you are driven by desire, of course. But on the way, the attainment of the nibbana is the relinquishment of the craving. But initially you are driven by craving, but on the way you are reducing craving. You are removing craving and ultimately achieving the goal or reaching nibbana means you have no craving. But you are driven by craving. And again he says, Mana sambhuto ayam bhaginikayo manang nissaya manam pahatabbu. So say someone attained arahanthood, and you are getting a kind of a perspective, kind of an idea, oh, if he could do it, why can't I do it? So it's a kind of a conceit made. So you are kind of comparing, so he also could do it, then I also should be able to do it. So now you are generating a self-view, kind of an ego, and you are trying to do it. But on the way, conceit also removed. That's the beauty. So once you are achieving the goal, even the conceit is removed. But at the beginning you are driven by conceit. Can't help. So because these defilements in a way helps to motivate us. Defilements actually motivate us. Okay, I want to achieve it. I want to become an enlightened being. So still I is there. So I am driven by I. But on the way, on the path, I is dropped. I is diminished. And ultimately removed. So therefore, it is true the craving is there at the beginning, but later on craving is reduced and ultimately uprooted. Yeah. So that is the way it is happening. So that is why even in the Iddipada, if you know, Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. So Chanda Iddipada means you have a desire to continuously going on and on, continuously practice. You are driven by some amount of a desire. But it is in a way wholesome. Can't say desire is wholesome. But ultimately desire is dropped. So say for example, I was telling about that appanihita. So at that time you are coming to a very high state of vipassana. You can't come to that state unless you drop all the wishes. So you can see the path is very nicely formulated, path is nicely developed. So at the beginning you have various motivation factors. But as you are growing, they become different. And ultimately you are simply allowing things to happen rather than involving. Then Dhamma takes over and kind of desireless things are there. Yes.
So in a sense, Bhante, what you're saying is in certain circumstances,
yes,
it may be all right to have a sense of I,
yeah,
or non-self.
Yes.
If, for example, your visions are altruistic, for example, like a teacher who wants to teach people or a doctor who wants to save lives, you
yes,
always talk about materialism and building more houses and cars.
Yeah.
But about people who want to do a service, so for that motivation, it may be, what I understand from what you said, is it may be okay to have a sense of I till some later point, which is built on wholesomeness,
yes,
as you said.
Yes, that's why actually in when you are coming to Kamma, so Buddha, he can't preach Dhamma to everyone to attain arahanthood at that life, in that life itself. So everyone, if attain arahanthood during the Buddha's period, so then no beings. So whoever they are, everyone is arahant. But it couldn't. But for some large majority, so he simply explained, okay, don't do bad things. Just do good things, because you may ultimately end up with problems if you are doing bad things. So then in a way it's a kind of a personality view. Because there is a person, and if you are doing wrong things, you may have to end up with bad circumstances. So because the thing is, for that group, actually if we are simply telling, okay, non-self and all, so those are actually some advanced teachings which one may come across at the very developed states of the mind. So those developed states of the mind teaching cannot be applied to the very early typical beings. So for them, they have to tell, okay, you avoid killing animals, you avoid stealing, you avoid sexual misconduct. For them, they have to have the morality first. For the morality, if you are breaking precepts, so that indicates you are operating purely with a person, as an I. So when you are killing an animal, so you are a person, you have a personality, you are an I, and you are killing. So when you are stealing, so you have a sense of I, and you are stealing. So without such, you can't do it. So that is why, say in the Dhamma it is said typically, when someone attains the first stage, say Sotapanna, this 5 becomes kind of impossible to break. So his ability to go to hell again is completely eradicated. So because his mind cannot get that much of gross state of mind. So if you are to kill an animal, your mind also have to have some kind of animal nature. So you have to have a kind of strong anger, strong hatred. Then only you can kill. So suppose you are developing metta, you are developing very good meditation. So you are becoming extremely sensitive now. More and more you become sensitive. So having that kind of murdering thought is impossible. It's hurting. I mean, at the very beginning, because it doesn't immediately come to that stage. No, it develops as a slight thought, and at that very moment, a meditator may understand it. And if he is really, looking after himself, he may cut it off at that level, rather than encouraging it. So therefore, if someone is breaking precepts, particularly they say 5 precepts, that indicates that he is operating with I, with a personality view. So it may definitely have kamma. So through the vipassana, so one may find out. So while without having personality view, or at least to maintain it less, still one can operate. Say you are teaching or you are helping or something, but you then and there you understand how these deeds are trying to generate I. So for that to have, you have to have a fairly advanced understanding of the mind, how these defilements are trying to fool you. Then only you can handle these tiny things. Yes. Okay, so yes. 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 Yes, yes.
Thank you. Shall I repeat it?
Yes.
Along the path of purification, one has to eradicate all the anusaya kilesas at one point or the other. So can you please explain as to how anusaya kilesas are to be surfaced and then eradicated through vipassana meditation as well as day-to-day life is possible, but I think as it is we are unable to identify anusaya kilesas.
Yes, yes.
Only the other two.
Yes.
So can you please?
Yeah, as far as I can understand, asava and anusaya has a fairly close relationship. Typically, asava is called as when something is there for long time. So it has a kind of a tendency, or rather, kind of the pattern of generation. Say when you are operating in a same way again and again, so that is the way the mind starts operating the next time also. The anusaya is kind of a tendency that is also very, very likely to operate the same way. You have a kind of a habit. Habitually you are doing. So anyway, so I think I answered this question in the previous time also related to the Sabbasava Sutta. So there Buddha explains 7 ways how one can eradicate asava. So Buddha says, okay, in certain asava, one may eradicate by being patient. So you are not immediately trying to react. Suppose you are being bitten by mosquitoes. So you are not immediately crushing them, but you are just being patient. So say if you are being bitten by a snake, whatever, then you are not immediately trying to react, but trying to be patient. Say you are very hungry. So if you are, say, protecting precepts, you are not immediately trying to break the precept, but you are trying to be patient. So likewise, the patient attribute Buddha is explaining. And then now say while eating, there's a possibility that you are getting greed. So to avoid greed, say you are contemplating what is the purpose of eating. And then through contemplation, through wise attention, so then one may be able to avoid defilements. That is patisevana pahatabba. Then there are certain areas, if you go there, your mind get corrupted. Say some bad people are there. Say bad places are there. So you avoid going there. So you don't go there. So that is parivajjana pahatabba. Then when you are seeing some, say, lustful object, so rather than continuously looking at it, you are turning away. So then that is Samvara Pahatabba. So likewise, there are certain ways that you are restraining yourself. So you restrain your senses, and through that you avoid the kind of improvement of the or increase of the defilements. That is Samvara Pahatabba. Then what else?
What is Dasana Pahatabba?
Dasana, yeah. So I'll come to that later.
All right.
Then say you have Bhavana Pahatabba, where you develop the positive side. You develop the, say you are developing mindfulness, you are developing the wisdom, you are developing concentration. So you are developing positive sides. So that is another side. So Dasana Pahatabba means that suppose you are thinking in a particular pattern. When you are thinking like that, there was, before you start thinking, suppose you didn't have lustful thoughts. But now after this way of thinking, your lust now growing. Then Buddha says, don't do it. So that is wrong manasikara.
Wrong what?
Wrong manasikara. It should not be continued. Say, when you are thinking in a way, there was no previously anger, but now anger is growing. The way how you are thinking. Then Buddha said, don't continue.
Is it somewhat related to asatya manasikara?
In a way, I mean, those are the techniques that how you can drop it.
Yeah.
But he distinguished, there are certain things when you are thinking, your defilements are increasing. So those way of thinking, not to encourage. But there are other way of thinking. Say, suppose you already have some kind of lust. When you are thinking in another way, this already available that lust is reducing. Then Buddha says, no problem. You continue thinking like that. Because the recent lust is reducing. Say you are angry now. Now you are thinking in a way how this anger reduce. Say for example, you are being angry with the person. And now you are boiling, you are burning with anger. And now you are thinking, okay, he was helping me on that occasion, I should remember that. So now you are thinking that way. Now the already available anger reducing. Then Buddha says, no problem, you continue in that thinking. So that is where he introduced two terms, Manasikaraniye Dhamme and Amanasikaraniye Dhamme. Manasikaraniye Dhamme means there are certain things, by reflecting in that way, your already arisen defilements are reducing. Amanasikaraniye Dhamme means if certain way of thinking, if they are encouraging defilements, you should avoid it. So, and he says the one who understands the Dhamma, understands the teaching, very well understand what to think and what not to think. And he thinks what is necessary or what is useful, and he drops what is unuseful, not useful. So that is what Dasana Pahatabba, where you use in a way kind of a yoniso manasikara, the proper way of thinking, and through that thinking you are reducing defilements.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah,
and
actually those are all seven, say that sutta explains 7 ways of handling asavanusaya, but there are other suttas telling, Buddha is telling, okay, even if you are developing 4 satipatthana, you can eradicate asavanusaya. So if you are developing Iddipada, you can eradicate asavanusaya. So likewise, all the 37 Bodhipakkhya Dhamma are helping to uproot asavanusaya.
Sir, just about to ask Bhante.
Yes.
Now the anusaya kilesas that are in the deepest level,
yes,
which we cannot fathom at all,
yes,
can be eradicated, I think, with deep meditation.
No, thing is, probably my wrong understanding. As far as I understand, when they are kind of hidden, when they are sleeping, we can't go and say dig it. So they have to come to some active state. So once they come to an active state, we can handle it. Say when they are asava anusaya state, we can't immediately uproot it. But suppose due to certain causes they manifest to the surface of the mind, like the pariyuttana kilesa. Say now it's a kind of a active state is there. There you understand, if you are very mindful, then you can uproot. It's in a way, it is you are cutting the trend. You are cutting the habit. So in a time, say, suppose you are seeing your enemy. Immediately you get the anger and you understood now the mind has gone to anger, you stop it. You are not encouraging it. You are not going to blame. You are not going to fight. But you understood it, you stop it. Then you stop the trend. So if we motivate or if we encourage anger, if we react based on anger, again we are strengthening the pattern, strengthening the habit. But now we are not strengthening the habit, but rather we understood it at the very early stage of the anger, and there we stop. So basically for that to do, so you need to have a fairly calm mind. So that fairly calm, peaceful mind can only understand this very early stages of the defilement. Then you can easily use mindfulness to remove that defilement. Because that's a very early stage. So you can say it is very, very early stage of the anusaya being active now. It is not that it's coming to the surface and sort of improved or sort of empower you. Rather, it's a very early stage, and at the very early stage, you are cutting it.
Thank you very much, Bhante. You explained it beautifully.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I have to cut my kilesa. So you put me up, so I have to cut. Okay. So we have engaged with our discussion for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. So thank you very much. So we will be meeting again here at 4 o'clock for the Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for participation.